Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Stephen Four, Mike Haspel, and Jason Craze. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog. What up?
Yo, what's happening, everybody?
I forgot the order he said our names.
It's always you than me.
You did good.
Keep it professional.
That's actually our motto. We have it all tattooed on the outside of our thumbs.
I have it on the stomach. I have it on my stomach.
Mine's
Gotcha.
Semi-pro. I was inspired by the Will Ferrell movie.
One of the top 5 best movies of all times. Yo, wow, man, it feels so great to be back between all my family stuff and the weekend we just had going on. It feels like I haven't truly been on in forever. So, man, I am excited to be back on. It's a good time of year.
I am. I'm also excited. I got my voice back. I lost it. I found it. We're good.
The unicorn of voices.
I was struggling. I went to the doctor's office and he's like, nah, it's cool. Just like, don't talk. And I was like, what?
You do what? I mean, is it sad that I didn't notice you couldn't talk?
It's bad. But nah, he's like, nah, it's cool. Just like take some time off. Just like don't talk for a while. And I was like, Doc, killing me.
I want you to understand, Doc, that's part of what I do.
I've never heard a doctor say don't talk. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he's like
talk with your fingers and then not with your voice. It's like that's half my job, Doc.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, that's just silly. I'll just go on. I'll just stream tonight anyways. It's no big deal. And then like 30 minutes in, I'm wearing my my button-up shirt and my cat tie, and I realized that like my neck is now as big as my collar. It's like completely swole, and I should have taken it easy. I was like, mistakes were made.
You should have done one of those videos where like they write on the note cards and then they keep holding up the next note card. Should have just done a Twitch channel like that.
Oh, I thought that was all CGI. That's why I didn't want to do it.
Oh my god!
Don't get it twisted. I might have to do that myself.
That would be really funny.
Yo, Jason, so it was funny. I called Rob. I was like, yo, Rob, what's going on? And he talked to me kind of like in his skinny voice, like, yo, I can barely talk. And I was like, oh, man, that sucks. You know what you need to do. He's like, dog, I'm already doing it. I'm making this concoction still in the Kenny voice, but I'm not for lack of sanity. I'm not going to do it in Kenny voice. But so he's like, I'm already making this concoction. I was like, word, tell me what's in it. Rum, honey, and lemon juice. I was like, yep, you're in the South now, homie. Those 3 put together will cure anything.
I think I also had some vinegar in there. It was like 2 tablespoons of vinegar, 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and some Jack.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Oh, it was delicious. I did it like 3 times.
Grandmothers give that to 2-year-olds here in the South.
That's called. He's like, I did it 3 times. That's called alcoholism, bro.
Mm-hmm.
potato. It's
you got a crying baby with maybe tooth coming in. Make that mixture. The baby doesn't cry anymore.
Have you seen that ridiculous Facebook video that's like a fake infomercial about like night little kids?
Yes, spray? It's chloroform.
He's like, our special formula attacks the cells, and they're showing like this like super advanced like diagram, and then the doctor is about to give it an endorsement, and he's like, this is straight up chloroform.
They cut him off. This is just and it goes off to like the mom, like the kid's like asleep on the couch.
I love it when the lady's like getting ready to feed her baby into the garbage disposal.
Yep.
Like, wait, I don't have to do this. I can just use chloroform.
So good.
God,
flawless.
Today might be opposites day. I don't know how good that is.
Classic. Juice. So when you were gone, I had to do a show with just Austin.
Yo, I want you to know, needless to say, because I listen to everything. Thursday morning, I wake up early and I am showering, getting ready, and it just didn't feel right to like play the poop song. So I was like,
which is your normal go-to for tournaments?
Yeah. I was like, man, this just doesn't feel right. The guys aren't here. So I was like, okay, let me hit play. I literally listened to like the first 35 minutes of the show. I was like,
You're
oh,
like-
I miss
you're like
these voices.
You're like, this is unconsumable. This is awful.
I think y'all did a good job. I was listening to it.
Jason was
came
there.
through. B
Jason
came
was
through.
Jason, yeah, the fake Avengers is what we named ourselves.
Oh my goodness. I want you to know, I actually, if I could have inserted myself into any 15-minute conversation, it would have been that.
That one.
And it was like all of you were trying to be the Hulk. And it's like, damn,
fat
the fat
less-
Hulk.
Fat gets tired too fast. Hulk
so good.
Y'all could have been Vindicators 3.
and less good Jarvis. is our
There was a
team.
Vindicators 2?
and
Yeah.
one.
They totally missed it because they didn't like you.
Damn it.
Oh, how rough was it Sunday night? Like I was like, oh man, it's been such a like tough week. I can't wait to see the new Rick and Morty tonight. And I go to like queue it up and it's like not there. And I was like, what? Where is it? And then
Yeah, that was savage, dude. I was like, oh, there's going to be Game of Thrones. No Game of Thrones. Well, there's Rick and Morty. Oh.
That's what I did. Bonet loves Game of Thrones. I was like, oh, we're gonna watch Game of Thrones tonight. She's like, yay! And she her favorite thing to do is when Game of Thrones is almost on. Skyrim. I'm sure you guys played Skyrim at least once.
Mm-hmm.
And she loves that game. She plays the chat game. And like the Dovahkiin song, like Dovahkiin. That's like she likes. So she loves that. So she just sings that tune. But simply with the words Game of Thrones, she's like Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones. So that's like her bit, right? She's just bouncing around the house singing that after I was like Game of Thrones tonight, and then I'm like 3, 2, 1. She's like no, from the other room. I was like, don't worry, baby, we'll watch Rick and Morty later, and she's like, sweet. 15 minutes later, no.
Yo, that's when the chloroform comes out.
Yeah, this is just chloroform. What?
Yep. I needed some that night.
Wait, so it's going to be what? There's a lot to look forward to this weekend because it's what NFL starts tomorrow. And
yo, you guys getting ready to know I'm all over that. I just you don't see me now, but had to bring out my Julius Peppers jersey that has been in the closet. Well, actually been in my bottom below my sock drawer because I didn't have it in me to burn.
It fell out of your sock drawer behind the drawer, crumpled up.
And I knew that it was there and I would never go back to get it because it was so dead to me. And I'm like, man, I'm so glad I hanged on to it for these last 9 years because my man is back. Julius Peppers. Remember I said this. He's gonna put up 11 sacks this year.
Is he going to be on your fantasy football team?
Now we don't only busters draft defensive players, so I will never be a part of a fantasy football team that drafts defensive players. But if I could, I would draft him in the first round.
You'd be like all day, every day if I wasn't going to win.
Yeah, it's the reason why I call it for busters because my fanhood would overpower my willing to win, and I would have to take him in the first round.
Okay, so I kind of zoned out a little bit. Are you guys talking about the new season of the league?
Yeah,
basically.
Okay.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
That word's in there somewhere. Sports ball. So, all right, Rob, do it.
Oh, this is the part where we talk about toys.
No, this is where you're supposed to do the intro again.
Hello and welcome to Movie Film. I'm Robbie B. Press 1 if you'd like to watch Star Wars. Oh wait, that's a couple months from now.
I want you to know at least 21 people hit 1.
So let's see. Coming out this week, we got lots of stuff actually from Games Workshop. Let's see. We got the 5-man box sets of Primaris. So I think those are $35 each, which is an interesting price point because the 10-man boxes were $60, but the single clan packs were $35. So I don't think they wanted a squad of 5 guys to be less than one dude, so they put them at $35. I don't know. I'm not a mathologist, but they're $35.
I'm just going to leave you with this. Let's throw a price against the wall and see what sticks.
There you go. It's only crazy if it doesn't
I think you
work.
just summarized their pricing strategy.
Yo,
I really want that to be true. Like they just go, hey, you were right. People actually bought it for that price. You win the pool.
Oh, wow. I don't know if it's that nefarious. I mean, I'm sure
but it would be great if they did.
I'm sure they have something. Also, the 30th anniversary miniature Primaris that has 2 different heads. I like the head without without the helmet. I think it's very, very full of flair. That one looks pretty dope. That comes out this week too, and he is also $35. So those 4 new Primaris releases coming your way this week. Then on Saturday, of course, going on advanced order will be Mortarion for $140, the new Death Guard dice set for $20, new Death Guard Codex hardcover $40, data cards for $15. And I think the data cards are actually worth picking up because it's just so much easier to have all the stratagems and everything. If you like playing Maelstrom.
Yeah. And Rob, I was about to say that. I wholeheartedly agree with you. When the Grey Knight one came out, I did not buy it because I was like, I don't need all these extra stratagems. I have the tactical objectives, from the main release. But after 2 games, I was like, you know what? I need all these stratagems like laid out so that I can see them.
I think we all know. I agree with you 100%. I'm a visual guy. I need the game aids in front of me. I need to see all my options. I need to order from a menu. I literally walk in to get a haircut and I pull up a picture of my man, Matt LeBlanc and Top Gear. And I'm like, cut it like this. Give it to me. And every time it's the same picture. So like, that's just how I do. So now I agree where they don't have the data cards. Sure. That's fine. Whatever. Like, because I mean, are you really going to put 85 data sheets for rules into a pack of cards? That just seems a little too much. And people wouldn't buy the codexes and such. But, at the end of the day, it's kind of on us to keep track of our rules. You can, in the kits, you can always, cut out the instructions and make your own little data card game aids if you want. That's super easy to do. You can always, make copies and stuff, or there's ways out there. I wish it was a little bit easier, but I can kind of understand at the end of the day why Games Workshop isn't going to put out 85 or 45 card decks of data sheets for us. And plus the stuff changes so much, there's also Sisters of Battle, and a Mephiston book coming out this week, paperback, $18 and $16 respectively from Black Library. Exclusive wise, you got the Plague Brethren box, which is more Death Guard miniatures. I think it's a box of 3 for $40, available on their online store. The Death Guard Collector's Edition for $80, and the Death Guard Limited Edition Codex for $200 will go for sale on Games Workshop site this weekend as well. On the tabletop scene, I think there's a new Magic set coming out here in 2 weeks. It's going to be Pirates and Dinosaurs, because why not?
2 of my favorite things growing up.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Like, what are kids into these days? Pirates and dinosaurs. Let's make some Magic cards. I can be behind this.
Favorite dinosaur, Triceratops. All day, every day.
Triceratops. So yeah, I'm stoked. Not a whole lot really else on miniature scene in general right now. I don't think there's a interesting Kickstarter going right now for the Table of Ultimate Gaming. I think is well over $500,000 in pledges. Looks to be a very robust product. We talked about it on the site. They have a 4x6 table option. You can check it out over on Kickstarter. There is the Everlasting Web Palette is going up on Kickstarter as well on the 19th, I believe it is. It isn't quite.
I have one of those right here. I'm supposed to use
the orange. You got the orange 3D print.
Yeah.
It's an interesting little product. It's not quite the way that they envisioned it originally. They wanted it to be 100% like mold proof and things like that. But it's just the technology might not be there to do it in our niche, or perhaps with the chemicals, with the water repellents and stuff. But I think the painter's pledge that they're doing for €25 and the material, the pad itself, seems like a very middle of the road approach to get a product out there and raise awareness and maybe try to actually develop or acquire the technology, the original vision of this project, which I think is pretty cool. Like, hey, we got this idea. We might not exactly be able to do it, but we're not going to overshoot it. We're going to middle of the road it, and then try to like kind of ease into it. So I think I can respect a company that comes at it like that. Definitely, I think more companies should learn from that example. So that's coming out. Redgrass Games over on Kickstarter. I think it goes up on the 19th. We have a review of it that'll be out at some point this week as well on Spikey Bits. Kenny will be checking it out too. Maybe you're gonna use it on your stream.
Yeah, I'm actually opening it up right now because I forgot I had it. I'm like, oh shit, I need to get this thing ready. I'm looking at it right now. I got some sweet little pads. Oh, they already come wet. That's
Yeah,
great.
so it probably there's probably like a faint, like little bit of chemical odor to it from what I heard.
What would you know?
I have no sense of smell, so I asked somebody. I was like, "Hey, what's the smell like?" "Hey, put this to your nose. Tell me what it smells like." But yeah, it's been treated. The gray pad has been treated already with like some sort of anti-mold kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's got a cool little case, snaps together. I've never used a wet palette. I always watch Jason using them on his channel, and I'm like, man, fuck a wet palette. And so people were like, nah, will you try one if we send one to you? And I was like, fine.
Fine, I'll try your stupid wood palette. Oh my god, I love this.
I love this thing.
I have a feeling it's going to change my life.
So what they say is too, and I didn't realize it when I did my my review. I wanted to take the orange lid off, and I was like, and I wanted to put the orange lid underneath it, like to kind of prop it up. But actually, you can they give you two pads. They give you a gray pad and they give you a white kind of pad.
Yeah.
For the water, so you can actually have two paint palettes. And I was like, oh, dang, I didn't even think about that. That was way smarter than what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you're like, I'm just gonna stare it on top of each other, like, or
boom, double paint palette. What?
I don't know if that might be too much paint for me though.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't pay that much.
But it would definitely be nice to keep the colors in there.
Might be making a debut on tomorrow's Patreon video. We'll see. Along with some bomb wicks from slowfusegaming.com, true sable hair Kalinskis.
Never heard of them.
I've been using the crap out of mine.
How you like them?
So far, so good. So far, so good.
But he's not the caliber of painter that you're marketing to, so take his opinion with a grain of salt.
I'm a hobo painter, I guess.
The first time I tune in, he's using them to put wash on a model.
Yeah,
that's not true. Did I? Was I? I was using that number 3 for something. What was it? He's like,
it's for painting. It's what it's for.
It's painting, dude.
Fucking painting, bro. Like no brush in that set is big. Like even the number 3 takes a razor edge. Like it's. But Rob is the guy who's like future floor wax, water to cut my wash is still 2017.
Whatever, man. It works for me.
Does it though?
Yep.
100% satisfied?
100%. Don't get no higher than that.
All right, fine. Yeah, that's true, I guess. I'm also looking forward to getting my Beats Lab organization on lock with the new Slow Fuse Gaming paint stand. Interlockable paint stand.
Soon. #soon trademark.
#paint but bunk beds coming in.
That's basically what I'm going to sleep on these. Do we have any more tabletop marketplace, or can we let Juice talk now?
I feel like there's only so much that can come out in 1 week.
All right, Juice. Nova happened.
Yo, I did. Big shout out to everybody that I was able to kick it with this weekend. Had unbelievable games. Had a lot of beers and met a lot of good people. So I want to start out by saying that in the open, I went 7-1, won the second round bracket, the worst losers. That
silver bracket, basically.
Yeah, there it is. And so when it was all said and done, I went 7-1 and took 4th overall. I was actually only 4 battle points off of Andrew Gagno. There's literally 1st through 4th was so tight. I think there was like 4 points separating, the 4 of us. So Asher Mortarion came in hot. 3 of the top 5 armies were Asher Mortarion. Shout out to Kelsey Haley, best 40K player in the history of ever, and myself as part of the Wobbly Modeler crew that came in and wrecked 40K, wrecked the Age of Sigmar. As a matter of fact, the Wobbly Modeler crew took 1st overall, I think, in Age of Sigmar singles, 1st overall in Age of Sigmar's doubles, and then Kelsey and I took 2nd and 4th. And open. So I mean, it was a really good showing. The list Astro Militarian was that I put together, and Austin and Kelsey and all the greatest minds that I reached out to put together was everything, the unicorns of list that I thought it would be. It had every answer. It was it was a Swiss Army knife, but just imagine if the Swiss Army knife was like 6 foot tall. So it was a lot to it was a lot to get it there. My back is still hurting. It probably will for the next couple weeks. You know, I want to talk about this. There's something that actually on the webcast nor in the after hours that I have spoke of yet. I want to talk about, there has been some absolutely unbelievable combos that I've seen in 8th edition that I had no idea was there. That's something that could never happen in 7th edition. It reminded me actually of like late 5th when you could still come up with ideas and almost kind of like gotcha, bitch.
Remember like 5 Storm Ravens with a single paladin, and each of them like just showed up at the end of 5th edition. Like,
exactly. You're like, what the hell? Where did this? Or
each one of them had it, and it's then 5 Suffragan Dreadnoughts and stuff. It was so ridiculous. Like, yeah.
I mean, and it was, and the Grey Knights had been out for a little bit. You know what I mean? And so either way, it was unbelievable. I had just dismissed Eldar in general, right? I was like, nah. Whatever. And so I play really great guy, Matt Shugman, in the 7th round. And literally he's playing some Eldar Yunari that I slept on. Luckily, I went first, like I did in 50% of my games. I just want to put a caveat to put out there to everybody. Thinking about.
Did you go first half the time?
Literally half the time in the open, I went first.
Huh.
Kenny, how many units did I have in my army? Do you know?
Over 30.
Over 30. Nobody came close to that. I think the closest opponent was in the 8th round. Hulk Smash, I think, had 28, and he didn't even know. He was like, yeah, you get the +1, dude. And I was like, what? How many units do you have? 28. And I was like, yeah, that's cute. I have 35. You get the +1.
Bush League.
So, but it was unreal, how many times. And now I do want to say this. So out of the 10 total games, and so I think I went first 6 times out of the 10 total games. I was seized on twice. So that was pretty funny. And I didn't like how it was roll for stuff, deploy your army, do infiltrates, roll to see who goes first. Oh, cool, you go first. Immediately seize the initiative. It's like, why are we rolling twice to see who goes first? Like it was a little off. Hopefully that kind of gets ironed out here sooner than later.
I mean, and seizing was like kind of is relatively a newer concept in our game system over the course of like since the 90s that I've been playing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's been around since late 6th, or I guess 6th, 7th, and 8th. And
it's about
6th
the time
lasted for I think a year, 13 months.
About the time they changed. Like remember back in those days, we didn't deploy an army, then you counter deploy, you played units. Remember? And we're back to that. So yeah, I think in a unit place game where you get these modifications to go first or second, I don't know if we need it anymore.
Yeah, I want to say this too, Kenny. It was so awesome because I have so the list, if anybody doesn't know, I have 145 conscripts. I have spread out through 6 units. I have 27 mortar teams. That's 27 dreadnought bases. Okay. I also have 6 Earthshakers that I was meticulously spacing out over 3.5 inches in all directions, handicapping myself because I didn't have these toothpick legs coming out or popsicle stick legs coming out on either side, but either way. And then I had double flyers with a bunch of ICs. Okay. So with that being said, if you can imagine everything that I just rambled out in a 12-inch Dawn of War deployment zone or in a angled deployment zone that is Vanguard Strike or anything else, I don't actually have too much of an option of how I'm going to deploy. I've figured out that in this deployment, I put all my models like this because that's how they fit. In this deployment, I put all my models like this because that's how they fit. So it was so funny is my opponent would be like, okay, I win the roll to go first. That means you place the first or I place first. Either way, I'm like, okay. And then they're like, okay, I have one up. You deploy one now. And then I laugh and I put my head up and I'm like, all right, I'm getting ready to put 27 mortar teams in this 9-inch vicinity. And I start putting them down. And then after that, I am going to put up, or I do the Earthshakers first. Then I'm going to do the mortars. Then I'm going to put 145. And then when I pick my head up, I'm going to be done deploying and I'll have 35 units. So it was so funny is, matter of fact, when I played Reese, I'm literally 22 units in, and I don't think he's placed with 2 units. He couldn't understand what I was doing. I was like, I don't care what you do with your army. This is how I'm going to deploy, homie. Like, I actually don't have an option.
I don't really have an option. Space is a commodity.
I don't really care that much. And so, but it was mind blowing to people because it's actually a lot how I played Flyrant on my Sky Shield. It's like, here I am. I don't care what you do. I don't care how far you go back. I don't care how close you are. I am going to do the same thing, you know. And it's actually one thing that I promise I've always done. And it's pretty fun. It was a great weekend, a great tournament. Astra Militarum and this style list was probably one of the most powerful armies I've ever played. Put my hands on.
Me and Austin made a prediction when you were gone, and we were like, Astra Militarum, some flavor of chaos and some flavor of G-Man Ultramarines would be the top, but it was really interesting to see how many other combos were there being competitive. But as you've said earlier, if you get 50 people in a room that are all pretty similar skill level, the best list is what's going to define the winners eventually. Because people like to believe like, yo, I'm just so good at 40K. It's like, yeah, you are really good at 40K. How much better than me are you? I was like double, triple, quadruple. No, not even close. 5% better, maybe.
Yeah, 5, 10. We're in under double digits. But like, if my list is twice is better than your list,
twice is more efficient at rules, has more rules. You can't overcome that. And so everyone in there is pretty solid. And there's very competitive lists, very competitive combos. Of course, these 3 lists were the number one shit, but it was great to see some sisters holding it down, some Necrons holding it down. It was great to see like Raven Guard holding it down. I think I saw some, what are they called? The Adeptus Mechanicus holding it down.
Yeah. The room was definitely varied. I do want to say that I was prepared to fight Magnus 1 million times and 100 million brimstones, and I played Magnus once. It was really shocking, and actually brimstones weren't the boogeyman. Like, in all reality, I kind of thought they would be, but when they don't get to reroll ones, they're invulnerable saves. And I would definitely say
as we talked about with brimstones, they occupy 1 role in an army. Like, they're beefcake. They stay in places. They're cheap, and it takes more firepower to deal with them than
they got a fighter's chin. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot to take them down.
They're not point appropriate. That's their gimmick.
Yeah, but I want to touch on a unit that came out of Adepticon, out of Nova, was that the Malefic Lord. Like, with Forge World being open, obviously Kelsey Haley, best 40K player in the history of ever, showcased how the Super Chicken is a goon. He is amazing. But I think the Malefic Lords are the ones that come out and stuff like Earthshakers, stuff like Xiphons. I think it really kind of showcases. And I just played Earthshakers and Xiphons, and I'm here to tell you, I don't know if they're really point efficient compared to what GW is at right now. Like a Malefic Lord, also a 30-point Malefic Lord.
Yeah, Forge World. And so so the difference between Brimstone Horrors and Malefic Lord, the same points. 10 Brimstones, 30 points, Malefic Lords, 30 points. Neither of them are point appropriate. 30 points is not enough points for 4 up invulnerables and an easy -1 to hit. That's true. No. 30 points is not point appropriate for an HQ that knows smite, especially with the way detachments work where you can spam them. The difference between their individual flavors of point inappropriateness is one of them, when spammed, kills things.
Yeah, because they
like crazy.
Malefic Lords going Demon Super Saiyan is no joke either.
Yeah, they one of them kills things for its cost. One of them just is hard to kill for its cost. So there's a huge variable there when you're talking about the entire point of the game is typically to eliminate your opponent. One of them is far superior at point inappropriateness. And so Malefic Lords were also the star of Chaos. So all this Chaos Soup Kitchen came out. Almost every Chaos player had Malefic Lords now. So they can get that extra battalion bump, or in some cases like Kelsey, the brigade he was able to unlock and still have 13 Malefic Lords. So tons of command points, tons of varied units, and also tons of varied units within these Chaos armies.
Yeah, dude, there was Warp Talons. Let me tell you, on multiple tables I looked around and that I played against. Tell me if you would ever, in 7th edition, ever in the history of ever, see this game 5 going into the first round. I played this the first round of the second bracket, game 5. The list that mirrored Nick Natavati's, very similar, had a squad of Warp Talons. First off, what? Warp Talons? You talking about the models that look cool that you see on every store, 40K GW store shelves that never gets open because the rules have always sucked? Warp Talons, Noise Marines, Corn Berserkers, and Rhinos. Like, Kenny, I think you said it best when we were talking before we started all this, was like a lot of the Chaos builds literally looked like 4th edition armies. It was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, when I saw Nick Navati playing on stream, I was super impressed with just a pocket unit of Noise Marines, couple of units of Berserkers, a pocket unit of Obliterators, a Lord on bike, maybe 2 Brimstone unit horrors. Cultists filled out the rest of the choices. You know, there was a Magnus, there was like 4 Malefic Lords. Like, it was so diverse. It made me super happy to see.
Yeah, exactly. And that was across the board. Like, I saw Brad Townsend, like, literally he played Grey Knights. I'm talking about Grey Knights that were utilizing, you ready for this, Haspel? Like, what's the thing that the psychic ability that allows them to shoot without line of sight? Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot.
Astral Aim.
Astral Aim. He's using, I bet you that man had probably 20 silencers. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 16 silencers. And they were getting augmented between, I think, a brother captain maybe, or somebody that allowed to reroll Astral Aim, and then using stratagems to up the rend.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it was unreal. And he did a Horde Space Marine Astra Militarum army where he had 100+ bodies. I think 60+ of them were Grey Knights. You know, Storm Bolters are legit. I mean, it was putting down hundreds of rounds a turn. It and a lot of quality with all the plasma that was mixed in. So that was really cool. I mean, again, the round before I played Yanari with Scepters and Singing Spears, you know, and the Incarn. And then the round before, I mean, it's shy of the Invitational where I played back-to-back Astra Militarum armies. I think every round I played something different. I played a full-on Sisters army with 3 squads of Seraphim, 3 squads of Heavy Bolter Retributors, and multiple squads of Repentious. Okay, that was my round 4. I played a Scout Sniper Heavy Gilliman list, round 1, that had all kind of ridiculousness in it. I played Reese's Raven Guard Raptors that specialized in the Scout Bikers and a bunch of heavy weapons and guys with storm shields. And I mean, every round that I think about it, I played something different. That's unheard of, you know. Not that didn't happen in 7th edition that often. And maybe it did in a 3-round GT, but not in an 8-round when there's obviously heavy hitters in the room.
Even here in my local scene where we're playing 20-man tournaments in Hollywood, I've played more Tal than anything else. You know, it's like, so that, I mean, diversity is, I think, a great sign that the edition has taken off.
Yeah, no, I agree too. I just think it's, you know, keeping the field badsies to a minimum and, you know, keeping the kind of the maintenance and the rules creep down to a minimum, just to, you know, you want to present well and you want to know what your units do and what your opponent's units do, or at least have a reasonable expectation or understanding, you know?
Yeah, actually, we talked about this earlier, that some of the intel is telling us that this might be the best tournament edition we've had in a long time.
I could see that.
Which is, you know, as tournament players or competitive individuals, that makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, and I can see that, homie, like, because we're getting quick rules from GW to clarify stuff. It's keeping our hobby brains active. But I think Robbie B has kind of harped on this the most out of anybody that I could think of, and it's very valid because that's not where he's at right now. Where I think it kind of goes hand in hand, where a good tournament season or a good tournament edition lies it leaves the door open for a bunch of shittiness for the friendly local game store players.
Yeah,
because it's hard for them it's hard for them to buy a box of Marines off the shelf or buy a unit that they just raised their $70 to get and really excited about these Centurions or whatever the case may be. And they're like, oh, I heard they're good and I'm painting them and getting excited. And by the time they buy them, put them together and paint them to a quality that they want, the rules have changed 10 times and that unit is no longer competitive. So yes.
Or they feel they just don't feel happy. It doesn't matter if they're competitive or not. It's a lot. And those are things that we crave as a tournament player. We want constant updates because it doesn't matter how many updates come out, how fast for like me, that I'm going to consume all those updates. I'm going to crack out on them. I'm going to get a certain degree of hobby enjoyment out of discovering those changes and looking for those combos. That's exactly what I crave. That's the opposite of what a lot of the casual scene craves.
And I want to chime in here for the casual scene. What GW just did with the Konar campaign, for the Friday night casual FLGS guys, that was phenomenal. That was fantastic. I hope they keep it up. There were some great prizes like with wound trackers and objective markers and all kinds of just really, really cool stuff. You got like a little button if you won the battle. For that week, you got a button with the name of the planet on it and everything. It was a heck of a lot of fun. And my only regret was that I wasn't able to participate in the whole thing because I'd just been too busy. But the couple of times I did participate, and it was great. So if they can somehow balance, like give the tournament folks the crack that they crave, and then give the local game store, the kind of pseudo organized play, because it wasn't like crazy like Magic or HeroClix or any of that stuff. I think it was the right mix. It was pretty good. It was a good time, and then they had the website tied into it, giving updates and everything. We'll see what happens with the final. Because I think I know at our store it did not go well for the loyalists on this last battle. So we'll just have to see how it affects everything, because they were talking about how they're going to actually affect some of the fluff, like the old what was it, Legend of the Five Rings card game used to do.
I mean, I remember Terra campaign. We had a large format print of the map on our game store wall, and we were so into that, taking over territories and reporting our data to GW, man. Like, so you're right, actually. So if GW can keep that up, that will be the shit. That'll be amazing. Like, because that does get me stoked. Like having a campaign that is like organized. Because the problem is when you say, hey, we're gonna do a campaign, when it falls onto all the people involved, it starts deteriorating almost every time, out of my experience.
Yeah, I mean, you get a campaign going, and it's like you're having to record all this data and like turn it in and do things, and it's like, who's actually recording and doing the upkeep and everything else on this data? So that's kind of what falls by the wayside. Good, yeah, good job, GW. Keep on keeping on, keep improving, keep doing the thing. But let's advance the pace of this podcast so we can get to that interview. Well, I don't think we've heard from Jason too much, but he is our Twitch updater. That's the new title.
I like it.
Or Twitcher or Twatcher.
All those things are correct.
Twitch is actually doing some really cool stuff. We've had some great content coming over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, we just finished up with some good paint-along stuff. We've got a lot of integration with the Creature Caster guys. So I know the whole team, you included, Rob, we've all been focused on a lot of that. They've got some amazing stuff coming out, and it goes back to kind of what we talked about earlier with the pop goes the monkey stuff and the Shapeways issue. We kind of look at like these third party people, and some of them are filling some really neat holes right now, and the demons that Creature Caster's coming out with are great. So we've been seeing a lot of that getting painted up. Twitch itself has got a lot of neat stuff coming up as they get closer and closer towards the October TwitchCon. So they're putting new features out that are going to allow all sorts of neat kind of community integration and interaction that we haven't seen yet and haven't been able to do with extensions and some cool stuff that are coming out over the next, they came out today, and then they'll be, enlarging their reach over the next couple of weeks. So all sorts of exciting stuff coming from the group as we figure out all these new tools and start implementing them. Should be good.
Community integration is some of my favorite stuff.
Well, it's like, Twitch in the past has been one of these that you can sit and you can watch the video, and it's a tremendous way to interact because it's all live. You get to ask a question, we get to answer a question. We keep saying that over and over and over again. If you haven't gone to Twitch yet, get your butt over there. Watch us, watch other people. You'll find all sorts of really cool hobby stuff that you can fall in love with and communities to hang out with in your spare time. But one of the things is that you have, you got a video screen, but you've never really been able to like interact directly with the stream, like you would like on the web. If you're, on a website, you're always clicking new stuff, click here for this info. And now they've come out with some stuff that allows us to do some interactive content where, click on this button, see what paints I'm using right now, and not have to worry about getting your question asked in chat or somebody missing it or all of that. So some really neat overlay stuff that's coming out. We should be really excited to try out some new things with that and on the front end content. And it's a never evolving technology that I think Amazon has finally got their kind of fingers wrapped around and are starting to get the idea that they can monetize this if they just put some additional cool factor to it. So I'm excited to see where it goes in the future.
Ballin'. Anything new from slowfusegaming.com?
Well, you guys have been blowing the brushes up. It's great watching everybody paint. We've gotten tremendous feedback on the brushes. You mentioned the paint racks earlier. The MDF paint racks should be coming out. Should be #soon trademark. We're hoping to get the first non-prototype run off of the cutter this week. If I can pick those up, maybe tomorrow, then we'll start seeing those pre-orders get out the door and then up on the shop, and then the rest of the modular shelving system to come in the following weeks. So that's really our big focus right now, is getting those out, get that organization tool out to everybody, and then just adding cool stuff to the store as we go, little things here and there, little, Vallejo modeling putty in the squeeze tube is the excitement of the week.
That's one of my favorite products.
Oh my God. It's like magical.
It literally is. It's a life changer that people don't even know about. I put it up on the store and people are like, wait, it comes in a toothpaste tube? And I'm like, yes.
It does, but it also comes in a paint pot tube if you want it to paint pot.
And they both work great.
They are the shiznite. It's literally the heat for all your hobby needs.
So good.
Love that stuff. Also, you can win now. My update from Next Level Painting on Twitch is now there's an opportunity to win Bombwick paintbrushes from me. People are asking, does that mean you're going to get a Jason Craze Slow Fuse Gaming watermark? I'm like, yeah, of course.
Oh God, I got to give him graphics. It's real.
I designed your dice bag. I got your graphics.
You better wear a ring, fool. You're out in public. Don't ever put your ring on.
You want to give me a sick ring? I'll get it. I'll wear it. I'm down. Well, anyway, guys,
I gotta make Juice a pitchfork paintbrush first.
Yeah. We literally had to explain to people how that's not real, and he didn't understand that.
Yo, first off, thank you, Jason. I knew we were best friends.
Dude, I'm coming through for you. It's just gonna take some time. This is a special thing. It takes work.
Yeah. First off, you can't rush greatness.
Exactly right.
Even though all he's trying to do is create a paintbrush to rush his army painting.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying the paintbrush itself is the greatness, not the work that I actually do with it.
Fair point. Pitchfork paintbrush coming soon. They call it the Juice, I guess. Might as well not even waste your money on like sable hair. Just go synthetic.
No. Yeah, why even bother?
Actually, a 50% synthetic carpet lint blend.
Now
we're talking. Now we've got
like the basing material that includes all the stuff off the carpet and bathroom floor.
Chip, some like Dorito dust, all that, everything. Yep. All right, let's do a commercial break and then let's hear from Kelsey Haley on our candid interview we did earlier today. ElrixHobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elrix Hobbies. ElrixHobbies.com.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at secretweaponsminiatures.com have rewarded us all with an extra 10% discount on all Secret Weapon Miniatures merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and Enjoy.
Veterans, I've got news for you. Get your best deals online at dicehead.com. Long War Vets, call or email for your best vet deals. That's dicehead.com. All right, guys. Tonight I'm joined by Kelsey Haley, the greatest 40K player ever. You may have seen him in our battle reports, dick stomping people into the ground over and over again. How the hell are you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. It's great to be on here.
Well, obviously, you're no stranger to competitive 40K, and last weekend was not different. You just came back from Nova, potentially one of the most competitive singles events in our country right now.
You know, as most of you are aware, Nova is a 8-round tournament, basically a single elimination after the 4th game, where they bracket off, and the top people are going into a final 4-game bracket. So I was in that. So
it's more like sports. So you have a bracket. You bracket. So after you play all these seeding rounds, you're in a bracket, and it's basically a single elimination bracket.
Right.
But the value of that bracket is established by those 4 seeding games and how good you did. If you're in the gold bracket, the silver bracket, the bronze bracket, etc.
Exactly.
And so you ended up in gold bracket.
Yep.
So before we talk about how hard that bracket was, how hard was it to get to that bracket for you? And based on the answer to that question, let's figure out why it was either easy or hard for you by what you took.
Well, getting into the bracket was not that difficult, mostly because 40K is a game of, rock, paper, and scissors, and I got lucky with the matchups on the way up. Each person was still a great opponent and presented their own challenges.
So not too easy to climb the mountain, not too hard to climb the mountain, and gracious in saying that you got some good matchups, but let's not get it twisted. Kelsey is a diabolic genius. He brings he's not one of those guys who's like, yo, let me take this Super Friends list and just run it for fucking 12 tournaments in a row. He has multiple lists that he's always in his Beats lab developing, and he'll on a whim paint it all up. Wobbly modelers, you and Austin and everybody, you'll get an army put together real quick and real good looking, and you will go and win. And then you'll do it with something new, and it's something new. So what's your latest flavor right now? What's your new shit?
The latest flavor is what they've been calling chaos soup, I guess. Making a chaos attachments from different factions, I guess you'd say. So we had 2 Supreme Commands with 5 Malefic Lords each, and one of them had a Teos Valkyries in it. And then there was a Chaos Brigade with 5 units of Brims, a unit of Pinks.
Oh, wow. You got a full brigade in there, so you had tons of command points.
3 more Malefic Lords, the Changeling, 3 Renegade Mortars, 3 Renegade Sentinel Squads with las cannons, and 3 Command Squads with las cannons. So it was a bunch of soft stuff, but it enabled me to jump up to 14 command points.
But that's also what's cool about a lot of the Chaos I play is that I like to take some big hardware elements, and I've been playing a lot of 1,500 points, not 2K. But the same concept of scales. Take a bunch of hard units. The hardness of those units scales with how many points I'm allowed. And one cool thing about Chaos, and why Astra Militarum is really strong, is that you can take some hard shit and you can back it up with more bodies than the other guy can for per capita versus his hard stuff.
Yeah, I also had 186 points of summoning.
So for Demonic Ritual, you had 180 reserve points basically, so you can make a couple of sidebar choices in the late game. But what was your go-to ritual?
I really only paid the points so that I could split the pink horse.
So that way you didn't have to rely on summoning. You just had more pink cores than people thought you did.
Right. So it just means that when I'm screening the Malefic Lords with the pink horse, now that unit has 50 wounds.
Yeah, and now you pay the points, which is very cool.
Right. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I like that. Very balanced, and you were no stranger to off-the-wall summoning lists. Like, you played a billion Maulafines and a Brat Scorpion. I've seen you play all manner of just crazy lists, scaling the range of the Imperium and Hereticus. So, solid list. Super Chicken, a billion smites when people get anywhere near your line. How strong was Super Chicken?
Super Chicken was amazing. Like, plain and simple. There's a lot of complaining, about him being overpowered, but there's only a couple games where he truly made his points back, but that was against other large things, like when he's fighting against Gilliman and vehicles, and when he's fighting against Tyranids. Like when he's fighting with Imperial Guard or a lot of smaller horde armies, and like if I'd fought demons, yeah, he'll do great, but he'll be struggling to kill that 700 points value back.
Yeah, and we can talk about like you told me, you specifically in your experience, because so you recognize the list you brought was really powerful. It exploited some of the strongest elements of Warhammer 40K. Like, the faction keywords, having all the malefic lords, very similar to what Imperial Guard and Ultramarines are doing right now. Like every one of these every Ghillie gunline army has some fake ass conscript screen doing the same thing you're doing.
And Celestine.
So I don't have a problem with any of that, because I think if IG and Space Marines can do it, Chaos and Renegades can do it, right? I think a fix later in the future would be just the cleaning of keywords and what they mean to each other. Like maybe give me a Chaos Alliance or Allies a Chaos keyword and have that be different than just a Chaos keyword. But if you're going to do that, you got to do it for everybody. You can't just say Imperial Guard can do whatever they want. And, the new General's Handbook is out and they've done a lot of that. So maybe in the future, but for now, you kind of have to push the pace. You have to bring the hardest list to these events within the confines of what's legal play, what's all fair. And that's the only way anything's going to come to the surface. Like your takeaway when we were talking earlier, you were like, yeah, Super Chicken was amazing, but Gilliman and Celestine was way more over the top.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the two of them combined are way more ridiculous. I lost to Teos to Gilliman at least twice. And it was always on Gilliman's second life.
Yeah, and Gilliman and Saint are cheaper combined than he is, right?
By 200 points.
And they can do things that are just ridiculous that people just... It's really... I mean, there's a lot of reasons, right? Like, Gilliman only being 9 wounds means you can't deal with him until he wants to deal with you first. And he's going to always deal with whatever he makes contact with. And
right.
Even if you drop him, he gets back up, command point reroll, he's back up, and you got to do it all over again, Celestine, the super move.
Yeah, then you have the objective king, Celestine, who's going to, she can move and steal the relic on the first turn and move with it.
Yeah, which is, relic just needs to go if Celestine's a thing.
And then when she dies, she's like, oh, I'm going to come back across the table. That looks like a good place.
Yeah, it's definitely so. Like before anyone's like, oh, Super Chicken's OP, Super Chicken didn't win Nova.
He's also 700 points.
Yeah, like
call a spade a spade.
Like, yeah. So where did you end up in the rankings? You made it to the gold bracket. We've established you had an amazing list. You were able to get through the first seeding games, get to the gold bracket. You had to play 3 games in the gold bracket.
4 games in the gold bracket.
4 games in the gold bracket. And how did those games do? What were their challenges? What was the hardest challenge? And ultimately, where did you finish?
The hardest game was obviously the last game versus Ganya, who's a great player, which I wound up losing that game by 12-19. So I got the most points I could get in a loss. But for as good as Mateos and Malefic Lords are, Imperial Guard with access to legions and just higher numbers and more mobility are probably the best right now. So as a result,
you spoke on mobility. A lot of people are confused. Where's all this Imperial Guard mobility coming from?
It's coming from the Elysians, because the ability to pay 1 point extra on your guardsmen and have them deep strike. So you already have a massive bulk army of conscripts and mortar teams and cheap vehicles, and then you have a lot of late game units that are coming in towards the end when you don't have anything to deal with them. And yeah, they might be guardsmen, but they're still there, and it's a lot of bodies to chew through. And most armies just can't do it late game.
Yeah, especially you're out of position. At the very least, you're just too out of position to deal with it.
Exactly.
Even if you had a bunch of units left. So that makes sense. So what happens when you go all? So you were basically playing for who wins Nova in that game. So does that mean like you're second place?
Right. I won. Well, actually, there was an award called Second to 1, which is for losing in the final bracket. But I actually didn't get that because on my way to the final game, I maxed points every game, so I wound up with Battle Master, which is the most battle points.
So technically, you're a Battle Master and second place. But,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But you like to spread the awards out to give to as many people as possible.
Yep. So they gave the 2nd to 1 to the person with the highest strength of schedule.
Which also is a pretty fair thing. Strength of schedule matters.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. Like, that's a huge deal. So that's Battlemaster, aka Best General, Kelsey Haley. Nova
That's right.
2017. But you're no stranger to making it to top brackets of Nova, right? You've been working your way up to first place for a while, right?
Right. Well, I've been hovering in the second bracket for a couple of years, and I've won that twice.
So now we stepped up to the gold bracket, second place. That's a pretty good leap in a year.
That's not bad.
Not bad, not bad.
Even worse.
So,
And it was nice. It was nice that the Wobbly Milers could hang on to the second bracket champion with Juice representing.
Yep, and Juice, of course. You know, we have talked about, I'm sure by this point in the podcast. So we pretty good showing, pretty happy, and I want to, before we go and flip the script, I want to just take an expert opinion from you. You know, as a longtime competitor of, all things, but like miniatures, wargaming, and 40K. What's your overall take right now? Are you happier with 8th than 7th? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think 8th is a lot better. It's certainly smoother. Nobody can. The biggest difference that I like is that nobody can really show up to a table with an army where you look at it and think, oh, well, he rolled a 4 for psychic power. There's no way I can interact with his army.
Yeah,
and that's huge.
I like that.
You always have a chance.
And it seems like to me that obviously we know who the big dicks are. We know that the Astra Militarums, the Ultramarines, the Chaos Legion stuff. And no big shocker too. Those people have codexes, but an Astra Militarum had the best index. So those are some of the hardest stuff to deal with right now. But it doesn't seem like anybody is out of the picture. Like if you're taking a competitive approach to your index, a lot of people are doing well.
Oh yeah,
which I like. All right, so now let's talk takeaways. So you had a great time, played some great people, did really well, kicked it with your friends all weekend, had a blast. It's that convention lifestyle that we always preach. That tournament life is so fun, and that's what everyone should be aspiring to. It's the end game for your hobby experience. Was there anything negative that you just were shocked by, or you didn't expect to see, or anything?
Well, at every big event like that, you always hear, you have people showing up with illegal lists and all that kind of thing, which is, I don't want to say
we predicted slow play like crazy too. Like that's almost always going to be a controversial scandal.
I heard some people complaining about that, but slow play is much harder in this edition than it has been previously because people can't justify moving their models and maintaining the 2-inch coherency and all that kind of thing. But there was a fair amount of, let's call it loose playing at the event that was caught but was not handled properly.
And this is from your personal experience or just things you heard?
Oh, things I saw and things I heard. And the organizers were aware, but it's kind of a passive system of dealing with problems where they just hope that it goes away. They hope that player loses, and then they don't have to deal with it. But that's not always the case.
No, absolutely. So, and this is a constant struggle. Like you said, like loose play, lists being wrong. Like this is an old story, right?
Oh yeah. I think one of the best things that could happen for the tournament scene, and not to be too negative, is that when somebody gets caught like egregiously cheating, that they be removed from the event. Ultimately, people doing that thing brings the experience down for everybody else.
Yeah, no secret, Kenny Boucher came down on the wrong side of a scandal once upon a time myself, so I'm no stranger to understanding how this affects people, and I'm not here to say to anybody what intent was, what was done on purpose, what was done by accident. But at the end of the day, whatever happens, if it did happen, you did kind of waste some people's time and you waste some people's money. And so I definitely, like I said, I don't personally have facts. I wasn't there. I'm just hearing a lot of stuff right now. And I would just hope to some people out there that potentially maybe going forward, a lesson someone can learn is that your personal honor should always outweigh your desire to win a game of toy soldiers, and even a prestigious event like Nova should always win. So like the second one of these things happen, it's clear to me that tournament organizers have no intent of confronting people or removing people. Like it's just never happened, right? I mean, to my knowledge,
no,
at this level,
never happened that I'm aware of.
And it's fine. People are anti-confrontational. That's I accept that. What I'm a little upset about is that I'm seeing that like these people in community leadership positions, like tournament organizers, aren't stepping up, and that's fine. Like mistakes are made on all parts. I would like to see some personal integrity, some personal honor. Like people make mistakes, whatever. People can learn, people can grow. If there's no negative recourse for it, then these people will never grow. These people will never change.
Right. It actually goes farther than that, because past the individual that does these things, it has negative connotations for everyone else, where you feel that like you go there, and it might be vindictive, but people like to know that something's happening to those people. Then they need to be dealt with in a manner where everyone knows that they were dealt with. Making like they need to be made an example.
There needs to be an example, so people. That's what I'm saying. To give people opportunity. Like I said, I don't know what the intent was here. I don't know if things were accidental. Of course, universally, everyone who gets caught doing something they shouldn't be says, "Oh, I didn't know," or whatever. Like, and I'm sure some percentage of those people, maybe a large percentage, didn't know, whatever. But some percentage did know. I'm not saying people need to be banned from anything. I'm not saying that shit, man. I'm saying, discipline fixes things. Like a strike system, something, I don't want anyone to be ever like, you're banned from all events forever. Like that's literally, we're not talking about crime here. We're not talking about things that are illegal. We're talking, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So like, I would like to see that. Cause like, this is the problem, right? We talk about it all the time here. Like our biggest hype is you got to get to these events. You got to get to these tournaments, tournament players, casual players. Let's unite these tribes. Let's come together. Right. But we have to talk about these situations, unfortunately, because they're already on the internet. People are already talking about it. Things are caught on camera. We don't want to be labeled as liars here at the Long War. Like we want you to go to these events, but we're not going to sit here and be like, hey, it's going to be fine. All tournament players, they're great. It's totally a misunderstanding. Well, there's a reason why we have our own set of, like, our own reputation. Some of the people, not all the people.
Yeah. And most
need to be aware of it.
Most of the cheating that like has been talked about over the past couple of days on the old internet has mostly, in my opinion, been clerical. Like just people messing up their list and not reading their books, that kind of thing, which, you could chalk up to just ignorance, but it is each player's job to know their set of rules. Like if you mess up like your opponent's rule set and how you interact, that's one thing.
You're trusting your opponent to guide you through his list.
Right.
A lot of times.
Right.
And so when that person himself clearly doesn't, if you were, so when someone's like, oh, my list is wrong, they're going to say, oh, I didn't realize it. So now what you're telling me is you're not an expert at your own list, and I'm trusting you to guide me through this, and you yourself are like lack the expertise to even play it properly. If you're overpointed, or you have something in your list that you didn't have, or you're doing something wrong with this or that. So that is definitely an issue,
Yeah, the sad thing is that that's not even the egregious cheating that I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's more passive. That's more unprovable. Like that's agreed.
I know there was some active cheating going on the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, which is sad to hear. Seems like most people though had a good time, but there's definitely like when someone's doing that over and over again, he's a guided missile or she's a guided missile, and every person that interacts with that person in that event essentially has a negative experience, which sucks.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I still had a blast. Like I can't wait to go to the next tournament.
Yeah. I mean, like,
here in a month.
Yeah, and this is a part of it, man. Like, right, you get a bunch of big personalities together, and they all have to beat each other and be in the same room with their own sets of opinions, lives, and everything. And it's always intense. Like, I've never been to a big event and gotten high in the rankings and not experienced intense, discussions or disagreements, or I don't know if you can do that, things like that. So all in all, sound like a great time. I've seen a lot of people out there. Any other any other big takeaways? Any shout outs, anything like that? Like, what was your favorite part? Like, how about this? Yeah, give me a shout out. Also, hit me up with like, what was your favorite thing at Nova?
Oh, I got a shout out to Ganyo for actually doing a pretty good job at the event. He's always a blast to play, despite beating me down. The favorite thing from the event is just getting to hang out with people.
That's what
one of the best aspects of Nova is it's all self-contained. It's like a Adepticon. It's all in the same hotel. You don't have to go anywhere. You can go up to your room, have drinks, go down, play games.
Which is very fun. That's like my favorite part about the convention experience. Always. That's why I'm always preaching it, Long War doubles every year at Adepticon. When we go, that's what it is. It's all in one room, but the party never stops, man. That's the best times. Congratulations on Best General, I guess is the ancient term, but now I guess it's Battle Master.
Yeah, each place has to have their own flavor.
Gotta have your own flavor. Grats, Chaos looking strong. Wobbly Maulers represented. Good weekend all in all. I guess shout out to Max Dubois and his people. They were keeping us update on the internet with Mismatch Play, I think, was the Twitch channel.
Yeah.
We got a lot of things going on, man. Anyway, man, thanks for joining me tonight. Kelsey Haley, the greatest 40K player ever, ladies and gentlemen. All right, great interview. Solid words from Kelsey, the greatest player in 40K history. Is that his official title?
Ever. You have to put 3 evers after it.
Ever.
I feel like I need to learn a bard voice so I could give him a true introduction.
You want to be a herald?
Yeah.
Herald of Kelsey.
I'm gonna have to
breaker of chains, first of his name.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get with you and Haspel and like
protector of Italian virginity.
the one, the only
Kelsey Haley.
Yeah,
you wanted the best, you got it.
Damn, that's one of the best ever. So now we're into it. Rob, break down some Death Guard.
Ooh, Death Guard's coming out soon. All right. So what we know right now, we know some stratagems. We know Mortarion. And we know a couple of relics. So let's start at the top.
And stratagems?
Yeah, let's start with stratagems. Because I actually think these are, well, maybe one of them. I like two out of the 3. Let's see. Let's run them down. So first off, we've got Cloud of Flies, which of course, if you're a fan of the Chaos, nothing new there. You've heard of this before. With this is a stratagem used during your movement phase. Select a Death Guard infantry unit until the start of your next movement phase. Enemy models can only shoot this unit if it is the closest visible target. So it kind of starts treating it like it's a character. For 1 command points.
Wow, that's you can become so can you do that to Mortarion? Is there a restriction? Infantry only? What is it? It
says infantry unit. Selected Death Guard infantry unit.
God damn it. I was like, no, they didn't fuck up. They did not fuck up. That's still pretty good.
Well, because Death Guard infantry isn't as limited as you would think right off the bat. Remember, because of keywords and such.
Well, I mean, I'm already like Nurgle obliterators right there, homie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you can throw these keywords around pretty much whatever you want to do. So, yeah.
Well, I'm sure it doesn't say Death Guard or Death. Is it Death Guard specific? Yeah, of course, it's Death Guard.
Death Guard infantry.
Yeah, so it has to be a Death Guard Legion keyword, and which is it's cool. That's how it should be. But I'm thinking, like I said, right at the game, my exploit is like I love obliterators. Teleport strike 24 inches away or whatever to get in range with your guns. That's at the end of the movement phase, which is, I believe, during the movement phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you teleport in at the end of the movement phase, can you still play this stratagem?
Oh, because it says
anytime during the movement phase.
During your movement phase.
So yeah. I feel like you're fine. That's at the end.
So it sounds like you pop it.
So you land, you say, pow, these guys, you can't interact with them. And so that gives them multiple, and that could be something you play every turn on them if you wanted to.
I could say, yeah, I definitely see the benefits to this. I mean, granted, we don't see the book, so we don't know all the. I guess we don't technically know all the nuances.
Well, most of the stuff in their book already has it's going to be good to throw this one around, but I'm just thinking out the gate, like what I would do. Boom. It's got to be infantry. I'm thinking of all the infantry units. I'm thinking of all the infantry unit rules. I'm like, hey, that'd be pretty cool for obliterators, but we don't know the whole story just yet.
Right. And that's why they're doing these teasers and these previews, is because, when you do get the book into your hot little hands, you're like, oh snap, now I can do this with this. I kind of actually prefer it this way. Have a little, teasers here and there. And I don't know, maybe that's just me, but
sure enough, give us another one.
All right. So keeping with the stratagem theme, we've got Nurgle's Rot. Now this is kind of interesting. It's a 3 command point, so it's a little pricey. Can be used once per battle in the shooting phase at any point, apparently. Select a Death Guard character and roll a d6 for every unit within 7. On a 4-up, the unit being rolled for suffers d3 mortal wounds. Straight up. Nurgle units cannot suffer wounds from Nurgle's Rot. In fact, they find it rather refreshing. So very similar mechanic to what we've seen in the past on that caveat there. Now, this is very similar to Mortarion's Host of Plagues rule, which is comes with him standard.
Can I ask you, is Mortarion a Death Guard character?
You can, and I might be able to tell you. Let's see. What is this?
I feel like he's a Death Guard character.
He says, well, I mean, I would assume he is, but we don't see his whole data sheet in this.
Is Magnus a character? So, I have a book. What am I doing?
Yeah, your book's actually probably closer than my book.
Keep going. I'm going to go grab my book.
Okay. So that is the Nurgle's Rot. And then you can compare that to the Host of Plagues, which is Mortarion's special rule, which is roll a dice for each enemy unit is within 7 of Mortarion at the start of the fight phase. So where we're seeing the Nurgle's Rot works is a stratagem that can be used once per game in the shooting phase. Mortarion himself, Host of Plagues, pops off in the fight phase. Consult his damage chart. If a roll equals or exceeds the required value, the unit being rolled for suffers d3 mortal wounds. So full up, it's popping off on a 4-up as well. Once he starts taking damage, it's a 5-up. Once he's potentially crippled, it's a 6-up.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. I literally use command points to re-roll the 1 and 6 to see if my people take damage.
So Magnus,
my flyer blows up. So I mean, no, I love that aspect, Rob.
Magnus is indeed a character, so I'm assuming Mortarion is. So that means you
can
warp
pop this. Yeah.
So you can like warp time across the table, get Mortarion in the guts, hit him, and that's during the movement. So in the movement phase, you can play the there's a lot of other stratagems that we'll go to later, but like I'm already seeing a combo where you can propel this guy across the battlefield. And you said this one happens in the shooting phase, the other one happens in the fight phase.
His innate ability happens in the fight phase. This stratagem happens in the shooting phase.
Literally, I'm like, you get into the guts of somebody's army where there's like, where you wait till you're in the place where a lot of high priority targets are within 7 inches of him, and then you're like, now. And it's like, you do the one in the shooting phase, everything on a 4-up takes D3 mortal wounds, and then you do the one in the fight phase, boom, everything around me takes D3 mortal wounds. You can really just...
And especially if you're talking about doing this on Mortarion, because that dude got that ass. Like he's probably going to be on 100 to or an 80 to 100 mil round base, right? So like that's 3.5 to 4 inches round, and now you're talking 7 inches off that on each side. That's a huge chunk of real estate.
Yeah, you said this is just Death Guard character, not infantry, right?
This is just Nurgle's Rot is Death Guard character.
Tight. So I'm feeling it. Continue.
The last preview for stratagems it's called Putrid Detonation, and this is one of the things we talk about a lot on the show, and you've seen in the battle reports. Use a stratagem when one of your Death Guard vehicles is destroyed. Do not roll a dice. That vehicle automatically explodes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's so gangster. I know, Juice. And don't blight drones already blow up on a 4-up? Man, what am I doing? I have the book. Like, why do I ask you?
I feel like pound for pound, a Blight Drone's better than a Helldrake at this point, but I'll never convince you of that.
No. You shan't. I mean, you might be right though in some ways because
stat wise, not exactly how you play them. You play them better
for the role in my army. The Blight Drone doesn't fulfill it.
Correct.
But what I don't like about Blight, I mean, there's a couple things I don't like about Blight Drones, but I'm pretty sure I'm flipping over to Blight Drone right now. So the Blight Drone, Putrid Explosion. This model reduces your wounds, D6 before the battlefield, on a 4+, 7 inches, all one mortal wound. So it's not a D3 or a D6. It's just straight up when it blows up. It's almost the same thing. 4 up, 7 inches, everyone takes 1 mortal wound.
Oh, 1.
So, but like that's what I'm saying. It's like, so Blight Drones already do this amazing thing. And they're fast attack. They have 10 wounds. They have toughness 7. They have a 10-inch movement. They have some guns. Pretty cool. I like the idea of like having this is a mortal wound army. You have all sorts of like little augments to just mortal wound people out. Digging it.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be an overlapping kind of theme here. It's going to, and then
guy who came in second at the last tournament I was at here in Hollywood, he had some Blight Drones in his Death Guard.
Nice. I don't think they're bad, especially, we're going to see a new kit come out and we're going to see like new equipment. It looks like there's some sort of new weapons on them. So I'm excited to see the previews or maybe the actual stat lines on those kits when they hit. All right. Jumping over to relics. We've got a piece of war gear that they're touting for a demon prince. It's a plate, the superlating plate. The bearer has a toughness characteristic of 2 up, or excuse me, a safe characteristic of 2 up. Roll dice each time this model passes savings through. In the fight phase, on a 4 up, the unit afflicted the wound suffers a mortal wound back, so it gets reposed on after all its own attacks have been resolved. Not exact. I mean, in theory, that seems good, but I feel like this is going to be one of those pieces of war gear that's
it's all right. It's not. I've seen better, but like
it depends on the points.
It's free. No, it's free. War gear. I mean, this is relic, right?
Yeah, but I mean, are you going to take this over something else?
What other relics are available?
Well, yeah, that's true. So next up is the Pandemic Staff. Psyker only, the bearer of the Pandemic Staff adds 1 to their psyche test when attempting to manifest the smite power.
I'm tired of those ones. Like already passes on a 5. Fucking hate it.
Everybody's got smite.
Zinch has that one too. Like Zinch has, I have Zinch relic already. That's exactly the same thing. It's like, I'm like, please be Weaver of Fates, be something. Oh man, the thing that passes on 5 on 2 dice.
Yeah, a little anticlimactic. All right, Dolores Nell. It's a Blight Bringer only relic. Roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 7 again. At the start of each morale phase, on a 6, the unit suffers a mortal wound. In addition, an enemy unit takes a morale test. Within 7, your opponent must roll 2 dice and discard the lowest result. I don't know if I take that over other relics. 50-50.
Are these all the relics though?
This is 3 of, I don't know how many there's going to be.
Yes. So far, not
a fan.
Not that. I mean, they're free. I mean, like, I mean, I don't.
Well, you get 1 for free, and then if you want to pay extra points, you can get.
So far of the 3 that you've said, like, I mean, I'm like, I guess the Smite one, like, because none of them are like that huge.
Yeah, they're a little lackluster so far, but that's all right. We'll see more previews and such. Warlord trait wise, it sounds like they're going to do the thing where, like, hey, if you're Mortarion or hey, you're Typhus, you got to take the specific one. But as far as the rest go, you'll just kind of be able to be like, oh, I want this. So this is number 2 on the chart. It's called Living Plague. Roll a die for each enemy unit is within 3 of your warlord at the start of any fight phase. On a 4 up, that unit suffers a mortal wound.
So many mortal wounds.
Again, I think we kind of see what they're doing here. Number 1 on the chart is you can add 1 to any disgustingly resilient rolls you make for your warlord.
That's the one.
Yep.
Juice.
unless the wound you're rolling for is mortal. So then it has to stay at a 5.
Still.
Never do I worry about mortal wounds. I don't care.
Yeah, literally, dog. You still have. So if you have a 5-up disgusting resilient, you still get to take it against the mortal wound. You just don't get to.
Correct.
Like, that's a good one. That's boom. I'll put a gold star next to that one as possibly my go-to. Continue, please.
Arch Contaminator, reroll failed wound rolls when resolving attacks made with a plague weapon for any friendly Death Guard unit within 7 of your warlord.
What are plague weapons? Let me look in here.
They have a specific like breakdown.
They do.
Sword, knife. I think there's more now. There was more under the Plague Guard entry or Death Guard entry or
There's definitely a list of plague weapons. So like that, if that's how you play tight with them, yeah, it's useful. So far, I'm all about this. Get a Billy Badass out there with possibly a Demon Prince Warlord. Give him the 4-up feel no pain.
Yeah, that seems pretty solid. So that's pretty much the previews on the rules themselves minus units, and then we got Mortarions. We just run down a stat line real quick. I mean,
break it down.
Talk about it. So you got your book, so you can compare it, contrast it to Magnus there.
Yes, sir.
Movement 12 on. We'll just go with his top end stat line. Movement 12. Weapon
I don't care about wounded. I just can't. I can't even wrap my head around that yet. So he can move 12. Okay,
move 12.
Not as fast as Magnus.
Nope. 2 up to hit in both combat and shooting. Strength 8, toughness 7, 18 wounds.
Strength 8, toughness 7, 18 wounds. Almost identical. He's identical so far. Except
almost
6 attacks, leadership 10, 3-up save.
Less attacks. And a 4-up invulnerable, I imagine, somewhere in his abilities.
Have not seen it yet, but still, because we only have the stat line here. They didn't exactly talk about. Oh, it does. It is further augmented with a 4-up invulnerable. Yep. It is not in the profile. They just talk about it. He also has the disgustingly resilient rule. He has silence, which is his sight.
Which makes him tougher. Like, disgusting resilient is so powerful because even if you have a 3-up invulnerable, the second you fail a 3-up invulnerable, you are just taking the D6 damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, disgusting resilient plus a 4-up invulnerable is they're really close. One guy with a 3-up invulnerable will be rolling 1s with his augments. One guy with a 4-up invulnerable blocking damage on 5s. Really, really close just on those types of combos. But I know there's a few more other abilities they posted, right?
Well, here's the thing too. Like, what if his warlord trait is the one where he has the revolting resilient, which I don't think we know.
Nah, they're not going to do that.
Wouldn't that be crazy though? I'm not saying they are or they aren't. I'm just saying.
They might.
I could definitely see where they might, man. Absolutely. Like Gilliman having basically a billion things of whatever letting to do. Like, absolutely.
He has a bubble of -1 toughness already though, right?
So yes, toxic presence, enemy units within 7 of Mortarion subtract 1 from their toughness. He also has the host of plagues, which we talked about at the start of the fight phase. You can roll.
Might be. I'm sorry, Rob B. Don't mean to interrupt you there while you're collecting things, but might be the single most OP things that I've heard of. A bubble of -1 toughness.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Holy God.
Pretty good. So a bubble -1 toughness plus a bubble of mortal wounds. I can see him having the +1 feel no pain because you need something to make him the toughest dude, right? The toughest Primarch.
The only thing they remark is that they say that he has the Death Guard standard disgustingly resilient rule, which I guess he would come with, but if he has the Warlord trait, it improves that by 1, as we just saw.
And he'll come preloaded. Let's hoping it's that one. Does it preview his scythe or anything like that?
No. It also says he has Phosphex bombs, which would make their first appearance in 40K, whereas they were normally in 30K. And they're pretty gross mechanic. Rerolling Phosphex, I believe in 30K, if you say you have to make a bunch of saves and you make a bunch of saves, now you have to reroll those saves again. But I don't know if that mechanic actually.
It's impossible to even compare them, yeah, because like everything got changed.
Yeah, so it's really hard to say at this point.
Any word on a psychic prowess?
Nothing. Nope.
So far, I'm impressed. I mean, he has a lot of nasty ability. I mean, like he's gonna have the same access to the same abilities that I assume Magnus has, Hereticus and everything. And I'm going to take a look at the Chaos book because they already said, hey, they made it clear to me that this psychic chart presented in the Chaos Codex, I believe is the new psychic chart. I think it's going to be presented in all the books. And I do, and Masmia of Pestilence is pretty good. Visible Nurgle, Hereticus, Astartes unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Until the start of the next phase, your opponent must subtract 1 to hit. So I'm pretty sure he's going to have access to a self-imposed -1 to hit bubble on himself. Not a bubble, but like augment. So I'm pretty sure what a standard Mortarion is going to be is -1 to hit, 4 up and vulnerable, disgusting resilient. Just all by himself out in the middle of the table. And you're going to be able to put him in where you want really fast in wartime. Whether or not he can take it or not, it doesn't matter because you can put someone in your army who can't take it. So he's going to be difficult to deal with. Like standing right in front of you, -1 to hit, maybe 4 feel no pain, you know?
And he definitely, lends support to any of his own troops that are around him because making things, -1 toughness is a huge mathematical.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's very important to get him into the cut. Right.
Yeah.
You get him if you have a support army built around it. You're just like warp time into your face. I myself am -1 to hit. I'm in the cut, doing all this dumb shit you don't want to be a part of, slashing dudes up, getting people dragged into combats, making everyone -1 toughness. While the rest of my army is massing strength 6 weapons that now wound on 2s when normally they wound on 3s.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of overlapping combos here, especially with the whole mortal wounds. Just this definitely feels like very similar to the way I played in Age of Sigmar, my Beast Claws. Like we would just run in, we'd smash, cause all these mortal wounds, and then just continue to rack up mortal wounds just while we're like in combat. Just bam, 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 and like reducing the damage that came back.
I mean, like even heavy bolters are going to be amazing, like in Havoc squads and stuff. Like if you can just turn a big portion of their army -1 toughness, like now, like if it's all toughness 4 dudes or like conscripts, for example, all toughness 3, now toughness 2. Even heavy bolters get the 1 on 2s now.
Yeah. And the best part about all of this is that's the way Death Guard would play. That's the theme. That's like how you hear them doing things. Like they walk up in trenches, they just like lay down withering fire and just like,
making tanks toughness 6 when you have a lot of strength 6 guns. Pretty good.
Yeah, it is unreal what they're going to be able to do and take away from your opponent.
Yeah, these are good signs. I think that we're going to have to see how it all lays out, see the rest of the stratagems, see the rest of the abilities, see how powerful Mortarion's weapon is in close combat. If it's anything like Magnus, it's going to be sick. It's going to be double his strength, -4 rend, 4 damage or some crazy shit. So he's going to be the same, like I always win on a 2s kind of guy. He's probably going to be a beast. And I think that, and Death Guard have a lot of ability to mass interesting strength profiles, like plague launchers and, plasma everywhere. Turning all vehicles to toughness 6 is really good against plasma too, right? Or, or I guess, when you overcharge plasma, you strength 8 or 7.
You're 8.
So, not as big for you, but you don't have to overcharge. You can go after Marines and not overcharge and win them on 2s.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
how crazy would it be if his warlord trait was the arch contaminator, where his silence was a plague weapon, and not only him but everyone within 7 could reroll their plague weapon wounds, so he could reroll his wounds in combat.
Everyone within 7. Is this a combat only one though?
Yeah, reroll failed wound rolls when resolving attacks made with a plague weapon. Oh, plague weapon. So like,
period. Yeah. Period. So that if some of these specialized weapons that are ranged. That's where you want it to be for range stacking. Like that would be good.
I would say right off the bat, without seeing his warlord trait, if silence and the lantern both count as plague weapons, that this is his warlord trait.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'm stoked. I mean, literally, there's an endless list of combos that we're thinking of and formulating, but we have even more questions now. You know,
and Death Guard's so easy to paint up. Like anybody of any skill level can make Death Guard look good.
GW is always smart of that because like whenever they put out, like I love it when GW puts a big push for Grey Knights because that's gonna sell because first off it's easy to paint. The Necrons, now in Death Guard, like they know what they're doing. I can't wait to see what the future holds.
They've learned that there's a few more of me's out there than there is of y'all's. The non-painters.
We've already established I'm a hobo painter.
I can't wait to get this book in my hand so I can just be in the Beats lab coming up with Death Guard combos. I'm feeling a lot of predators, a lot of auto cannons, a lot of heavy bolters, some obliterators maybe. Like I'm down. Because obliterators with their variable wavelength on their flesh metal weapons, it's strength 8 minimum, but it could be strength 10. And that really helped. Like when you have a -1 toughness bubble going up against tanks, that really helps. Like sometimes sometimes you're going up against a toughness 8 tank because there's a lot of badasses in the battlefield these days. Or you're going against toughness 5 bikers with 2 wounds that you're trying to kill, and you only rolled the 8, or the flesh metal weapon, and now you get 1 on 2 still. Like this, there's literally an endless sea of
endless. Again, like that combo of 40 infiltrating cultists, or warp timing them and literally shooting. Like you're talking about cultists
if they have plague weapons. But actually, I mean the -1 toughness is period.
Yeah, -1 toughness. Like you're just saying, like the
toughness 3 is strength, or strength 3 is strength 4 now. Like
I mean, there's a huge difference in what's about to go down. So,
but yeah, especially if you have like an Alpha Legion detachment and a Death Guard detachment. Pow!
Yeah, you're talking about like a guy who spent the last 10 games this weekend utilizing hitting on 5s, wounding, or then having to wound with a strength 3 weapon. Like what I would do to have a bubble 7 inches wide, knowing that I can subtract people's toughness. Holy shit. I mean, that's massive.
That's a huge multiplier. Can't wait.
No, it's a force multiplier that we actually haven't seen yet to that.
We had something in a Demon Codex that did that. Grotley, the Nurgling or something like that I used to run. So this is very Nurgle, and I'm glad to see the Primarch wielding this ability.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, there's a lot of character in just these 5 things you leaked.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good preview so far, and there's supposed to be another one out on Thursday. So I'm hoping maybe we'll see some of the new units, like maybe what the like kind of
feel like they shit on Grey Knights.
No, too soon, bro.
Kind of feel like they shit. I feel like Haspel's right. The best part of the Grey Knight book was the first 90 pages. Is that what he said?
60.
God.
It was great reading, but the rules wise, I mean, they're still an awesome ally army, but I'm trying to figure out a way to get them to work.
But you did. You figured out painting your Necrons up was the way to make it work.
Yep. And then what you said earlier about, Necrons are easy. So yes, but what do? I don't paint them easy.
You paint them fucking teal and gold. Masochistic motherfucker. Of course, you choose the most difficult color scheme in their range. Good. Well, that was pretty solid.
Lots of content tonight.
It's finally Chaos's time. We're getting back to the days where, like I said, you see Nick Nalvadi out there with 3 rhinos, berserkers, Norse Marines, unobliterated. Like you see this type of army, and it's playable. Holy shit, man! I have never. I mean, I've been waiting since 3rd 0.5 edition to feel that way again about what I love.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me happy.
It is the time. Plus, we got 1,000 Suns at some point.
I might have to get off the couch and actually get some Space Marines built, because all I have is cultists and demons because they've been so shitty for so long. God, a squad of corn berserkers. I haven't had that in a long time.
Codex Dinosaur Helldrake.
Yeah.
And then Pirates.
Yeah. Feel like we did it.
If I'm curt with you, it's because time is a factor. I think fast, I talk fast, and I need you guys to act fast if you want to get out of this. So pretty please, with sugar on top, clean the fucking car.